In 1983, Mahjong may have been king of the Famicom, but it's 1984 now. The king is dead. Long live the king. The fifth best-selling Famicom game of all time, with just shy of 2.5 million copies sold in Japan. Golf as a sport is synonymous with business, and Japan in the 1980s was synonymous with business. It was a case of the right game at the right time for a massive hit. Golf was the first full collaboration between Nintendo and HAL. Shigeru Miyamoto did the basic design principles for the game, but HAL's programmer Satoru Iwata did the actual heavy lifting on this one. Enough preamble, let's get to the game. Golf gives the player a full 18-hole golf course to go around. Even though I haven't played all of the console golf games through 1984, I feel pretty confident saying that golf was very innovative in its day. It has a full weather system, good simulation of the clubs, close-ups on the greens which have different elevations. The really special thing is the swing mechanic. Press a button once to start the backswing, hit the button where you want it to stop, hit the button again for when you want to strike the ball. Dead on and it flies straight, a little bit early and it shanks to the right, a little bit late and it swerves to the left. It gives the player some fine control over where the ball goes. And that's needed because if there's one major misstep in golf, it's that you can't really aim the swing. Your shot starts facing the hole, but then it can only be aimed in 8 directions. There is no fine aim adjustment to help you account for the wind. You have to use the spin on the shot to control that. As a course, golf is actually kind of tricky. The trees are out of bounds, not rough, so there's a lot of holes where you have to shoot around the course. You won't just be able to power through. And there is no caddy in golf. You won't know how far from the pin you are, so you'll have to learn your clubs. Another real problem with golf is that it's very hard to chip. The gentlest tap with the wedge sends the ball flying. Getting onto the green when you're just short of it is a very difficult task. On the green itself, I'm going to let you in on a little secret here. All of the greens have a consistent slope in one direction. It's not especially realistic, but I understand why they needed to do that in 1984. About that golfer. People often say that he's Mario, but that's not accurate. There's no mention in the manual of him being Mario, and Japanese sources contemporary with the game say that he's not Mario. Golf happens to be one of the Famicom games that I own the strategy guide for. Number 5 in the Game-Winning Strategies series covered some of Nintendo's early sports games, soccer, golf, and baseball. I didn't talk about it with baseball because the baseball section's pretty boring. This guidebook lays out the course and paths that players can take to shoot through it for a low score. Famicom guidebooks are kind of a neat thing, though they're a bit tough to obtain in the United States. And hey, their drawing of the golfer doesn't look like Mario at all. As one of the Famicom's monster hits, golf casts a long shadow. Of course, it got the picture label re-release, a Famicom Disk System port, and then there were 2 sequels on the Famicom Disk System. A Game Boy port smashed all 3 of those together into one game. HAL developed all of Nintendo's golf games up to the Nintendo 64 era, and they even published their own golf games. The golf legacy extends even further. The course in Wii Sports is the original one from Golf. And the Famicom Golf was even hidden in the original BIOS for the Switch. As for the Famicom Golf, I'd say it's about 80% of the way to a modern golf game. It's an enormous leap forward over the golf games that preceded it. But it's missing a few key things that prevent it from being really playable today. This one's a case of great in its day, but time has passed it by.